Okay, guys, I'm back. So the last video obviously didn't do well. I figured it wouldn't, but it is what it is. Today, I said in that video, I said in that video that I was going to be working on the PW50 in my next video. So today, that is what I'm going to do. So first thing I want to kind of explain, I kind of said in that video that I was going to explain kind of what happened and what I did wrong and try to explain to you to not do what I did. So pretty much what I did was I am not sized for this bike. I am too big for this bike, obviously. Anybody probably over the age or probably over the weight of like maybe 80 pounds is probably a little bit too heavy. Probably maxing it at 100. If you're over 100 pounds, you're probably too heavy. But this bike's not made for someone, my size, which so yeah. So first thing I did was I did let it warm up after I rebuilt it. But the bad thing is this thing hasn't been running for years, and I was kind of like, man, this kind of takes me back because it's a little 50. I grew up on this little bike, but I ended up pretty much putting too much stress and too much heat on the piston at once because I did not do the proper break-in period. I let it warm up. I figured I let it warm up enough because I was kind of letting it warm up, and then I had to figure out why it wasn't idling right. Apparently, I didn't. I put too much stress on it at one time. I ran it too hard, and the next day, come out here, it started, and then it just kind of died, and it wouldn't start after that. And then I checked the compression. It had 30 pounds of compression, which this thing's got to have a rate around, it's anywhere from like 70 to 80, I think is what it is. I think 75 is pretty good, but it does tell you that it should have about 80 pounds of pressure. So it doesn't. It has 30 pounds. So pretty much, I was being stupid, and I have killed the top end already, and I already bought, and I just replaced it. So I went ahead, because these bikes are cheap, went ahead on Rocky Mountain, which you've just seen here in this video earlier, that I went and bought a QA parts, showed you guys how to buy that and everything. I ended up ordering it yesterday at like 8 o'clock in the morning, and it came here today at like 9 something. So I got the parts. We're going to go through them here in a second, but first I'm going to get the bike up here. So zip these out. These ones aren't tightened because I had the seat off not that long ago. So just gonna do that. Spin them out. Okay. Okay, so that will come off. And then the seat should just pop right off, just like that. Set the seat on the ground, put the little mud flap thing on the ground. I'm going to shove these bolts back in where they go because it makes it so much easier to shove things back. If you can, places that I won't be able to, but just shove them back in here so I know where they went and you don't have to go searching for them, because even though it takes a couple seconds to do, it beats looking for a bolt for 12 hours trying to figure out where it went if you lost it. So, okay. So from there, this is all you really got to take off. Like I've done it before. I've showed you how to take the carb off and all that stuff. Next thing you got to do is exhaust. So I got to flip this bike around now, which I should have flipped it around to begin with because I forgot about that. But, okay, so the first thing, there's a bolt right here. Kind of bring you guys there. There's a bolt right there. Like I said, I don't have the exhaust on. There's also this clamp. Just take the needle nose and pull that down. And then there's a little rubber thing right there that you can pull down. And then you got a bolt right here. But you shouldn't have to pull this off. This bolt can stay. You should just be able to pull this off, which, like I said, I already have it loose. So I'm just going to pull these bolts out, which mine are just hand tight. I think these are like 11s or something like that. That bolt comes out. And then go ahead and pull these bottom bolts all the way out. You can see those bolts. There's one there and one there. Go ahead and pull them the rest of the way out. Those all should come out just like so. Now you'll have a, if you didn't, this kit does not come with this little exhaust gasket. I just replaced it, so this one should still be good. And wipe it off because there's oil all over it. But there is a restrictor thing, a restrictor plate that's supposed to be in here. that should be in this. I don't have it in here. It's not in it, so I don't know what to do with it, to be honest. But there should be a restrictor plate. You can put it in or you can leave it out. If you want it to be very slow, if you want it to be slower, if you have a new kid that's gotten on, you can put that restrictor plate on it, and it keeps it from, flying real fast, going real fast, so the kid can kind of get used to the controls before they get used to the speed. So if not, you can just take this and you can put it down, and you can just use like a socket or something and just kind of shove it. Just put the socket on the table like this. Kind of put it on the table. I don't know if you can see that. Whoa, too far. No, I guess it works. You can kind of put the socket on the table and then kind of push this through, and it should work fine. So that's what you can do with that. But if it does not come with that, so I suggest if you are rebuilding this and it's newly rebuilt, go ahead and buy that. Or if it's not been rebuilt, go ahead and go buy that. It's only like $3 or something like that. You got to go to the OEM parts finder to get that. First thing I'm going to do, pull the spark plug boot off. I'm going to tuck it back behind here so it's out of the way. Just put it right back in there. And then I'm going to make sure I'm recording. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and pull this spark plug out. So just like that. And this spark plug's good. The kit does come with a new spark plug, but this spark plug is obviously good. So this bolt back here for the exhaust, I'm just going to throw it back in. So we'll break all these loose in a crisscross pattern. So break that one. Break that one. Break that one. And we'll just spin them the rest of the way loose. Last bolt is coming off. Maybe. Here we go. Last bolt's off. And then that will pull the head off. Now before I get any farther, obviously this cylinder and stuff's not bad, but with this kit, it's $50. I'm going to kind of show you what is in it. Kit, you get obviously cylinder, and then you'll get your little circ clips, and then maybe get that little, I think it's like a needle bearing or roller bearing or something like that goes on there. I think that's what they're called. And then your wrist pin. Get that. You'll get your 2 gaskets. You'll get, make this a little wider. You'll get this, which are your rings, and then you'll get the head, which goes on top of the cylinder. And then you'll get these, which I might show you how to replace, might not, don't remember. I don't know if you're going to. I got to think about that. And then a spark plug. I think it's just a blandless spark plug is all it is. So this is everything except that little thing right there. Piston, we got all that stuff. So let's go ahead and go back over here and finish taking this down. Okay, so I've got the hit record. So what I want to kind of just show you. So I pulled this off since I already have circlip in here. Also wardrobe change. I changed my gloves out for a little bit of a more movable glove. Okay, so, alright. So circlip, I know it's hard to see. Just kind of grab it in there and then kind of just give it a little spin. Kind of a pry down like that, and that's why sometimes they call those Jesus clips, because they fly. And that's why you should wear eye protection when you're pulling those, because they will fly. So yeah, that's how you get it out. That one I couldn't tell you where it went. Just hopefully you don't do that when you put it back in. So yeah, so that's it. Piston's out. Also, that's the same way. So you push that, you put that on there. You'll have this little guy that sits in there. You'll just go from one side and push it. You don't have to pull both of them out. Just pull one side out, and then this thing will just kind of feed in there like this. And then what you'll do is it will be flush. So you'll just take something like a screwdriver or whatever, and just kind of push through, and then go on the other side and grab and pull out the rest of the way, just like that. So there you go. Also, speaking of mechanics, I forgot to remove that's also got to come out too. So remove that thing. That's a little roller bearing or something. I forget what they're called. To investigate your bottom end here, the first thing we're going to do is, first of all, make sure your bottom end still rolls, still spins obviously freely, and it should spin good, just like that. See how it's spinning? So make sure it does that. Sorry, I zoomed way out. I'm going to zoom all the way in. Okay. So yeah, so make sure it spins in there. You can see how it's spinning. Which, bring the light up here. So yeah, so you can see how it's spinning in there. The next thing you want to do is you want to make sure it has no play up and down. So this one has no play up and down. Now don't get that confused with side to side, because most bottom ends will have a play side to side. It will move a little bit on side to side, but it should not have any play up and down. That's how you make sure that's good. Take your new roller bearing here, this thing, take your new one of these, and then take your new one of these wrist pins, and then go ahead and shove this thing in here. Make sure that, and then shove this one in here, and this will just kind of create, you want to make sure that it does not move in there at all. It's kind of, you can kind of hold this and just make sure that that does work. Now I'm going to go ahead and find a little towel, and then you can also take a razor blade, but you do want to do this. Oh, got a step. Go ahead and shove a paper towel right after. You should do this like as soon as you remove it, but shove a paper towel around your rod here. So just kind of shove a towel in there so you don't lose anything down in the bottom end, just like that. Make sure the bottom end is all the way pulled out, and then, like I said, kind of wipe down these surroundings. And then you can also take a knife, a normal razor blade, and you can kind of just kind of scrape a lot of this off. This one isn't that bad. This one's pretty decent. It looks fine. I'm pretty sure it should be a 6mm M6 by a 1.0 thread is what it is. This one is what's going on. I'm going to just going through here and cleaning these threads, because like I said, some of them are a little bit gummed up and a little stripped. Got the threads all cleaned up. They're nice. They're good. Now, if you do end up installing these, as called right now, but when you put them into here, just end up putting them in. I don't think it matters what side. I think they're just all the same. But when you put it in, put some like medium strength Loctite, which should. So the cylinder, we're gonna go ahead and kind of fit. I'm gonna show you guys what you would do on any bike that you just bored out or anything like that. You want to check the ring gap. A nice thing about this kit is it comes with a little paper. The paper gives you instructions on how you're supposed to seat and all that stuff. So if you can see that right there, there should be a little flare on these rings, which I'll open these rings up. I guess not really a flare, but kind of like I don't know what you consider it. But if you look at the rings, they're both the same. They're identical rings because of 2 strokes. You won't have any. So you should have some type of, I don't know if you can really tell, but you see how those are. See how those are got that little indent in them? Well, you want it sitting how I have it. So it should be sitting like the piston here. It should be sitting like that on the piston, okay? Because you have these little retainer pins here. I don't know if you can see them. That little pin right there. You'll want those little things kind of seating right on that. So I don't have assembly lube, but what works is just if you have some 2-stroke oil, or you can even use regular motor oil. I just got some 2-stroke oil I'm going to open up. So I just dumped a little bit in the cap. If you have WD-40, take some WD-40 and kind of put in there, kind of spray it in there. And then I'm going to wipe it down with the rag. So just kind of shove the rag through. A little tiny wipe down, not much needed, just a little tiny thing. And then kind of clean it out. And then now we'll take the motor oil and we'll coat this with motor oil. So you don't have to go sparingly. Put a good bit in there just to kind of make it seat a lot easier and put to go through a little easier when you put the piston in. Okay. So, sorry, I wasn't even trying to get the whole frame in there. So, now like I said, we have the rings. The rings are going to go like this. I'm going to go ahead and coat the rings. Some people don't do this, some people do. I'm going to go ahead and just coat them while they're off. Like I said, you want that little thing on the ring facing up with the piston. So, go ahead and see if we can't do this on screen here. I'm going to take it and find the locator pin, which is right there. I'm going to kind of push them in, and then you can just kind of take it and just kind of spread it around the piston, and make sure you seat the bottom one first. Make sure you don't get your glove caught in the piston ring. Kind of seat that bottom one first and find that locator pin. So you want it sitting just like that on that locator pin right there. It should go right there on that locator pin. You get it to focus. So you want that gap right there like that. Now I'll put the other one on. Again, I'm going to put some oil on it. Coat it around, and then it should slide right on. Do the same thing. Make sure that that gap is facing up, and we will just feed that down around just like so. And then you've put both those where those locator pins are. So one's right there, you see that gap, and then the other one is right there. Okay. So now there's an arrow on this exhaust, or on this piston. You can see that little arrow there. You want that arrow pointing to the exhaust side, so it should sit on the engine down. So if you look at this cylinder, the cylinder would be sitting like this. So you want that arrow facing towards this little flange right here, or to this little thing on the cylinder. So you want the arrow kind of sitting like that to that thing. So it'd be on the exhaust side, whatever the exhaust side came out of, that's what you want that arrow pointing to. So I'm going to go ahead and put this piston in now. So make sure you squeeze down these rings and make sure they stay onto those locator pins, because you do not want them jumping out of whack. Make sure that arrow is to the exhaust side. And we're going to kind of just feed this quick. Grab this little red baggy thing that's sitting here. Make sure you don't use them. These have your clips in there, your circle clips. Go ahead and pull them out. Sit one down. And then from your exhaust side, you're going to want to put this on your left. So you're going to want to put it on this side over here. Try to throw one end in like that. I don't know how good I'm going to be able to get this on camera. And then kind of feed the other one in with your pliers. So I'm going to kind of hold the one end into the groove like this. And then grab my pliers and kind of force it like so. Kind of force the twist into it. Okay. So I got it in there. Like I said, it's a little tricky. Now there is a groove in there, so make sure that seats. Obviously this one did not seat fully. And then now, with the piston standing straight up and down, take this little tab and either face it straight down or straight up. So you want it sitting like that. You want that little point straight up or straight down, not side to side. Straight up or straight down. Make sure you do that. Okay, now to this point, this is where we're going to go feed this down. So make sure, like I said before, arrow is pointing to the exhaust side. Make sure those little things are are on those little pins. We're just going to drop this down in here, making sure okay, just like that. We're not going to put it all the way down, just to where those rings clear to the second one, and then we're going to go ahead and put this over here. I was going to show you guys how to do ring cap, but I wanted to kind of put this in here. 80. I ended up going with just trying to buy rings buy OEM rings. So I'm really hoping this works for that 80. I'll show you guys how to do ring gap on that bike. This bike, it tells you really don't have to do ring gap, but it does tell you what the ring gap is on here. It tells you it right there. So if you buy this, it tells you right there that the ring gap should be either 0.15 to 0.35 millimeters, or it should be 0.0059 or 0.0138 inches. Beautiful thing. Got the piston in there. I don't know if you can see the arrow down in there. That's towards the exhaust, so it will just go on like so. So I'm going to go ahead and seat this on here. Put all them lined up like that. Kind of just set it there. Now I'm going to dip this thing. This little guy? I'm going to dip it into the oil. So I got the cap of oil here. I'm just going to drop it down in there, kind of dip it in, and then I'm going to shove it in here. So it should seat right in there. Oh, shoot. Okay, before we put this on, pull this back off. Pull the piston and stuff back off. Also, I don't think I ever put anything on the piston, so I'm going to go ahead and put some oil down on the piston. Okay, before I do that, make sure you put your gasket on. I almost forgot about it. So, open up your gaskets. You got two gaskets. You got a paper and a metal. They're pretty explanatory to which one goes where. This one obviously goes down here, so make sure you put it on the proper way. A little trick I want to show you guys real fast with putting on gaskets. So this is more of a trick to use on like your side covers and stuff, but I like to use it just to do it because it does kind of save in case you do got to tear a bike back down, especially if you don't know if this is the 100% the problem. So take just a tiny bit of grease on your finger, just any type of grease, and kind of just wipe on this gasket. It'll also keep the gasket in place, but it also adds that extra where it won't completely stick to the case, so you'll be able to kind of pull it back off. But just a thin little layer of grease on your gaskets, it just makes it so you can kind of pull it back off when you're done, and wipe that off your fingers. And then, like I said, just a small little thin coating of grease, just enough to keep it from completely sticking if you do gotta take it back off. So we'll feed this on. Make sure you do not rip this gasket, because then you'll have to get a new one. So just kind of evenly push it down, get it off in threads because it will stick. Just threads, and then we'll kind of just seat this all the way down. I'm going to go ahead and pull the paper towel out now too, since I'm done cleaning it. Pull that out, seat it, make sure this rod goes above, and there we go. So it's seated all the way down to there. So now go ahead and put your cylinder on. At those holes. Make sure this thing is ready to be able to go. Speaking of this, I don't know why I pushed this pin through. That was really stupid. I don't know why I put that through. Okay. Okay. Now put your pin through. Make sure you get that rod lined up there, and then just seat that pin all the way through that rod, and seat it all the way down with a screwdriver or a pair of pliers. Clean these pliers off. Seat it all the way. So seat it all the way down, and then take your other little clippy thing, and make sure you don't shoot these to the moon, because they will. If you let them, they'll shoot to the moon. This is going to be a little hard to do on this angle, so don't get frustrated. Don't break anything. Try to just get it in there. Like I said, these aren't easy to get in. Usually the second time's always easier, but also have safety glasses on in case this does get shot out. You don't want to freaking get your eye jabbed out. Okay, just like that. So like again, make sure it is up and down from the piston. So how it's sitting right now is how you want it. Okay, so both sides are straight up and straight down for the circlips. Now we'll go ahead and keep this piston, block it with your finger, and kind of start seating this down. I'm gonna wipe away it's like a little bit of dirt or something got in there. Kind of keep this down. You can also hold down the, bring that all the way to the top, and bring it all the way up. Kind of go a couple of turns with it. Okay. Just all the way up. We'll seat it down. All the way seated, and then we will go ahead, get this top gasket. I'm just going to put a little bit of 2-stroke oil. Well, actually, I'll use some normal oil on this just to kind of help it seal because it's a metal gasket. Okay, so put this gasket on, and then from here, for this top, you want this big fin part, the longer fin part. You can see how it looks. You want that facing towards the exhaust, which I already got it on. I have the old one. This is the old one. So yeah, you want the big part facing down, how I have it like this. Now you're gonna take your nuts and go ahead and put them on. I have to just put them on like with this. Okay, put the new one. Okay. And we're going to go in a crisscross pattern. We're going to tighten down. Just like so. Just going to go through one more time. Just kind of give them a little tweak. Alright, so pretty good. Sure nothing's loose, anything like that. So now, again, you have a brand new spark plug that you can put in here. Obviously, this spark plug, like I said, it's only been on one run, so I'm going to go ahead and throw it back in here. This should be a 3/16 spark plug socket, which I have right here, for sure. A 13/16 spark plug socket, sorry. 13/16 spark plug socket. And then give a little tweak. There you get. And then bring this boot back through. And there we go. Put that on. That should be it. Go ahead and it should start up right now. So I should have oil in here, gear oil, or I think this just takes PW 10W30. I think is what this takes. I don't even actually think this takes gear oil. I forgot to put the exhaust on while I was up top, so I'm down here. Should have the 2 little bolts. Pull those out of your other cylinder, and then go ahead and screw them up in like that. Okay, so grab your exhaust gasket, and feed this back through. Obviously, pull your bolt out that I told you to put in. Drop it. Put that there. Make sure you get it lined up on them. Drop your back of it in. Oh, is that as far as it goes? Apparently. Huh. Okay. So I'm going to throw this bolt in. Tighten up these guys a little bit. And then finish tightening up this guy. I'm going to go ahead and pull this rubber up. This rubber should go all the way up and meet. Make sure that thing goes all the way far down. And then bring this thing up pinch it. You might need some pliers. Pinch it and bring it up, and then I'm going to kind of pinch it and pull it around so it doesn't get caught on anything. Okay, and then keep tightening this. Get a little snug, and we're going to use a wrench up front. So I got them both kind of tightened down to where they are having some resistance. I'm just going to keep going back and forth on twisting them the whole swing that I have here. Give this one more crank. That should be good. Just to pretty much mash that in there. Good enough. Make sure it's all tight. Make sure nothing is loose. Now we'll go ahead and put the seat back on. So now, get that. And we got this guy to go on right there. Just snug them. Give them an extra couple little cranks to snug. I'm going to tighten these really far down, just enough to keep it on there. Okay. Green my fingers are. It's like dyed my gloves. My blue gloves green. It's all green. Okay. Before I forget, I'm just going to go ahead and I warmed it up once, let it cool all the way down till the exhaust was fully cold. Just warmed it up again, and I'm shutting it down real quick. I'll just show you that it starts up. All the kickers on this side. It starts up first kick. Okay, starts up second kick. Okay, starts up third kick. Sorry, I kept hitting the stupid off switch, but it starts right up. Turn it back off, so I'm gonna let it cool down, so I'm not out here for years trying to let it cool down again. But I just wanted to go ahead and end this video off, because that being said, stay tuned for more. Subscribe if you're not. Tell me if you love me. Tell me if you hate me. I don't care, whichever one in the comments. Let me know if you guys learned anything. And yeah, I guess I'll see you guys in the next one. Oh, like and subscribe. And that's it. That's it. That's all I got. That's all I got. Showed you guys how to rebuild a bike. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace. Bye.